What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Shooting this for the second time. I just got about 5 minutes into a video and realized that my screen was not recording properly. So this really sucks because I made a lot of points that I thought were really valid. So let's hope I can remember those again. But today we're going to be talking about Rasmus Sandin and his contract. Now, if you are new here and you're a Leaf fan, you're probably going to see that I haven't made a lot of content in a while. I gave myself a little bit of a break this summer. I've been working 3 different jobs, and I'm tired. I'll be really honest with you guys. But now that the season's coming back, you're probably going to get almost daily videos from me. So if you are new here, like and subscribe. Join the squad. Be a crazy Leaf fan like everybody else here is. So I'd really appreciate that. Lots of previews and lots of fun videos coming up. I'm excited. But hey, another year, another Leaf player that hasn't signed to start the season. Now, excuse me, I'm sure a lot of people are going to blame Kyle Dubas. Man, I got to get the dust out of here, man. I feel like I'm dusting off cobwebs here making this video. But Kyle Dubas is going to take some blame for Rasmus Sandin not having a contract right now. But if you're only focused on the Leafs, you have to understand that there's lots of GMs and lots of teams that are dealing with stuff like this going into any season. We know that Kyle Dubas has had trouble signing some guys, but I'm not comparing the situation with Nylander, Marner, and Matthews or any other player and comparing it to a Rasmus Sandin. And that's no disrespect, but he's not a all-star caliber player. He's played less than 100 games in the NHL. And this is Kyle Dubas finally, putting his foot down and saying, you're a restricted free agent. We're not just going to give you all this money, considering a guy that we believe is close to you in value signed for $1.4 million, and that's Timothy Liljegren. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Rasmus Sandin. If we're just going based off the eye test, that guy's fantastic. He's a smaller guy, but he's physical. And if you're saying he's not physical, you got to watch the highlights. That guy throws a lot of hits, and he doesn't play small. He's a really good puck mover. He can be a power play guy if you need him to. But it's been rumored that he wants more playing time and he wants more money. Well, he's probably not going to get either of those things this year, especially holding out this long. Now, another thing I want to mention, though, is he might get playing time to start the season when and if he signs, hopefully very soon, because apparently the Leafs are going to be going into this season with some injuries. Chris Johnston just said on the Chris Johnston Show on the Steve Dangle Podcast Network, or SDPN for short form, that the Leafs are going to have some injuries. They're going to have some injuries, and Rasmus Sandin is probably going to be looking at a 1-year deal, and he's in Sweden right now. He's not even in Toronto. He's not skating with the team. He's not skating with anybody right now. He's skating by himself. So he's not in any rush, and I don't think Kyle Dubas is either. Now, Elliot Friedman, and this is coming from Joseph Zita on Twitter, so thank you so much for this thread. Elliot Friedman on 32 Thoughts podcast. I've heard the same rumors as everybody else that Toronto wanted Sandin and Liljegren to sign the same day at 2 years and $1.4 million. Now, Liljegren said yes, and Sandin said no, as we know. Now, he also says that the contract comparable to Rasmus Sandin that has been talked about isn't Adam Boqvist's 3-year, $2.6 million AAV. It's Jake Bean's 3-year, $2.3 million AAV, and that he's heard Toronto doesn't want to go there. Now, I don't blame them. That's way too high, in my opinion, for Rasmus Sandin. I thought the highest that they would go with those guys was $2.5 million on like a longer-term deal, and I thought that was way overshooting it. I thought that they were probably going to get just under $2 million a piece, and when Liljegren signed for 1.4, I thought, damn, Rasmus Sandin can't be getting any more than that, and if he is, it's not going to be by a ton. So I'm really confused because Liljegren took a pretty decent step last year. He played top 4 minutes at some points. He had growing pains, but he's a young guy. Like, he's only 23 years old. And I think that he played really well. Right shot defenseman, 23, now on that $1.4 million deal. And yeah, so it's for this year and next. So that's really, really good. Last year, like I said, he took a step, 23 points in 61 games played. And then, of course, in years previous with the Marlies, like 30 points in 40 games. Like, he's a guy that knows how to put up points, but he also played pretty decent defensively, especially when he was paired with Mark Giordano. It's a guy that he's learning from, and that's another experience that Rasmus Sandin could lose out from. Gio's going to be with the team all year. He's a left-handed shot. He could probably teach Sandin a lot of things. And Muzzin, another guy that has been teaching them. And, even a guy like Justin Hall, he's got a little bit of experience over them. Sure, he's made some mistakes, and I don't even know if he's going to be on this team to start the year. He's still a guy with more experience. And, of course, you've got Morgan Riley and TJ Brody, like two wicked guys you could learn from. But the Leafs actually have a decent blue line this year and last year. So if they can take that into this year, it's going to make Murray and Samsonov's job way easier, which we'll talk about in another video. Don't worry. We're going to be talking about the goaltending at length. But I just don't think Rasmus Sandin has a ton of leverage here, considering Timothy Liljegren played probably a better game for Sheldon Keefe down the stretch, because Sheldon Keefe seems to really like Liljegren. So we'll have to see where that goes. But in terms of some comparables, the Leafs Nation put this chart together. We've got Durzi from LA, former Leaf prospect, 2 years, $1.7 million AAV. Anderson, 1 year, $1 million. Brandstrom, 1 year, $900K. And Sandin, to be determined, obviously. So right here, games played, he's not even at 100 yet, so he's probably more comparable to Durzi. Career points per game, he's a little bit higher than these two, but he's, again, a little bit lower than Durzi. Expected goals for percentage, he's, again, really close with Durzi here. And I just don't see how he could eclipse Durzi's contract, especially considering the numbers are so similar and he's played, less than 100 games. I just don't see where he's going to get close to the number that he's looking for. Now, who knows? Is he holding out because of playing time? Is he holding out for money? Is he holding out for both? I'm starting to think it's a little bit of both, just considering, look at the left side, okay? So you've got Riley, who's going to be playing the most minutes. You've got Muzzin, unless he's injured, knock on wood, and that's one of the Leafs that's injured to start the year. And then you've got Gio. So Sandin's not going to play top four unless he takes multiple people's jobs, because Hall and Liljegren, probably on the depth chart, because they're right-handed shots, are probably going to be playing mixed minutes in that top four, and maybe you get Sandin in there every once in a while. But if we're looking at the way that he played last season, if we're just going off points, he didn't have, the best numbers statistically, but again, he's a guy that has proven before that he can actually put up decent numbers in the AHL, 15 points in 21 games played as a defenseman, not too shabby. Sweden, U20, 10 points in 7 games played. The Marlies, again, he only got into 1 game there, but with the Maple Leafs, he just hasn't put up numbers where it's like, oh, we're going to see that this guy go crazy in the stats department and he's going to put up numbers. But again, if we're just going back to the eye test and even looking at that goals for percentage, he is a very good defenseman, but we haven't fully seen his full potential yet. He has to prove it. And that's why I don't think that the Leafs are just going to, give him everything that he's looking for. If we're looking at cap space right now and cap friendly, this is a rough estimate before them signing PTOs and everything like that. And I'm not saying this is what the lines are going to look like. This is just me throwing some numbers around. The blue line is pretty set. And if you add him to this, it's a pretty deep blue line. But what I'm starting to wonder is if a guy like Jake Muzzin or a Giordano or a Brody or somebody will not be ready to start the season. God, I really hope TJ Brody and Muzzin are healthy. I hope all of them are healthy, but I'm wondering if this is where one of them go to LTIR and you slip in a Rasmus Sandin to play. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens, but the Leafs are really strapped for cash here, and moves are going to have to be made because they also have some guys that they probably want to slip in here on PTOs. So we really, really are in a tough spot right now when it comes to cap space. And if Rasmus Sandin is looking for big numbers, he's not going to get it in Toronto. He's not. And if he doesn't want to play here, then they're going to have to trade him. And getting equal value for a guy that potentially could be really good in the future but hasn't really shown everything yet, the Leafs are probably going to lose that trade. So I just don't want to see them make that move yet. I want to see if they can get this guy under contract, and we'll see what happens. But I want to kind of give you the floor. I want to give you guys the chance to comment down below and give me your thoughts. I'm really excited for the season, but when stuff like this happens and it's like, we're going into another year with a guy that has really good potential that doesn't have a contract. It just kind of irritates me. I love Rasmus Sandin. I think he's a really talented defenseman with a bright future, but we got to get him under contract. But you can't just fold to him. You can't just give him everything that he wants. So if you are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Join the squad. Thank you again for watching. Lots more videos coming. It's Leaf season. It's NHL season. It's hockey season. Let's go. Go Leafs go. Peace.